Yeah, so I just had some more detailed questions about some of the things that you mentioned. First of all, you talked a lot about visibility. What does visibility currently look like today for your sales reps?
Non-existent.
Non-existent. Okay.
I would say. I mean, they get, I'm not sure. I think they get like a commission kind of statement that says, "Oh, here's your commission for the month." But if they need a breakdown of that, if they need to understand, what did I make on this particular sale, then I believe it is a case of, calling into customer service and getting the detail from them.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And as far as visibility goes, what are some of the like things that you want to see out of your incentive compensation system? Like, are there specific type of reports? I know you talked a lot about like drill down to be able to drill down transaction by transaction, see what commission they got for each deal.
Yeah.
But are there other types of reports that you're curious about?
There's a couple of things I think. So if I take it right back to the initial business requirement, right, then what they would love, their utopia would be, as I'm putting an order onto D365, and I'm going through, each line, I can see the commission that I'm earning on that line. Okay, so that's one thing. I
Hmm.
don't know if that's feasible or not, but I wanted to put that out there. And then again, I think just the ability for them to see um, near real time. Right, here's the orders that have gone on today. Here's the commissions that I've made on that. Here's my commission, month to date. Here it is year to date. Here it is versus kind of last year. That kind of visibility and the ability then to drill down to say, okay, well, let's look at the transactions for this month.
Hmm.
And drill down into the individual sales orders and see the makeup of those transactions.
Yeah.
From a strategic perspective, then I'm sure that the kind of FP&A folks and the business execs will want to be able to see, right, what's our mix of commissions, how much are we paying in this country, so that we can look at that VAM and say, do we need to be tweaking it? Are we paying too much on a certain product? How's the change that we've made to the VAM? How's that impacted? Have we seen an increase in the sales that this particular product because we manipulated the VAM to make it more attractive to people to sell? So that kind of typical analytics.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you talk about all these pay mix reports, those strategic reports, are you guys able to get those metrics today, or is this something that you guys are hoping to get in the future?
We can't really get it easily today. I think it takes us so long to get it. It's so cumbersome.
Yeah.
It's all Excel. By the time you've got it, you spend half your time, questioning the numbers, and then the other
Absolutely.
half of your time trying to pull it together. So by the time
Yeah.
you're analyzing it, it's out of date. So
Yeah. Yeah, one of the great things about having all of your commission data in a commission system like Exactly is obviously one, it's all going to be organized. It's going to be a single source of truth. On top of that, we do have a reporting engine, which has a really nice and easy to use intuitive UI, which means you should be able to pull the reports much faster. So not only is it relevant, it's correct, and once you have that report set up, the report is also going to auto update every single time you run new orders.
right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know at the very beginning of the call, you also talked a lot about exceptions to plans. Is this something that you want to see how our system would handle these sorts of things, like different commission percentages to different customers, or is that something you're definitely trying to phase away as you redesign your comp plans?
I think we're definitely trying to phase away from it.
Mhm.
As I said before, I don't think we'll ever get to the point where we've just got one or two simple comp plans. There'll always be, oh, this is some kind of exception, you know.
Sure.
So I think it would be useful to see um, the flexibility that you've got within the tool,
Okay.
and obviously then we'd need to manage. Say actually, yeah, just because it's there, we don't want to use it, right? But we know it's there if we need it. So
If you need it, yeah,
because we're talking about what we're doing today, we might turn around in 3 years' time and say, actually, the van model, we need to do something differently, or we've got a different product line that's come out that we want to compensate people for differently. So certainly
yeah.
worth seeing the capabilities. Yeah.
Yeah, and with these frequent plan changes, would you guys be interested in modeling at all? One of the nice things Incent does have is it allows you to model out plan changes. What we essentially give you is a copy of your environment where you can kind of make it's a safe place for you to make changes and see what potential results might be. Is that something that you think would be pretty interesting to the team?
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, fantastic. And let's see what else here. So earlier during the call, you also talked a little bit about this company-wide profitability bonus. Is this something that you guys are having trouble handling today, or is it just something that we'll talk about later?
I think it depends who you ask, right?
Yeah.
You ask the person that's pulling it together on a spreadsheet, then yes.
Mm-hmm.
but ultimately, I think there is a process. It's quite manually intensive, but it's a once a year thing. If we can streamline it and make it push button perfect. But again, I would say whether we go with a solution or not is not going to hinge on the ability to do that. And as I say, there are a few different variables, and it's relatively straightforward. So there's a work level. So people are assigned a work level. At work level 1, they'll get a 5% bonus. Work level 2 will get a 10% bonus. Work level 3 will get a 25% bonus, etc.
Yep.
Then it's also based on personal performance. So that's an assessment that is done currently via a product called Cornerstone. But will ultimately sit within D365. So we'd say, right, well, if you're a meets expectation, then you get somewhere between 75 and 90% of that bonus. And then the other component is overall business performance. And that can be either by Genus PLC as a group, or it can be by PIC, or it can be by ABS. And it can also then be by region as well. So you could say, right, if you're in ABS North America, then you didn't get near your budget this year, therefore you get nothing. If you're in PIC North America, you didn't budget or you exceeded budget, and therefore you're eligible for 110% of the bonus.
Makes sense.
But then there is the variable bit, which is essentially the employee. So John and I might both be graded as meets expectations, but John did he was borderline exceeds expectations. So we want to give him 90% versus me at 75%.
I see. Okay, so it's not. There's almost sort of like a manager discretion.
Exactly. It's not completely prescriptive. So if you meet expectations, you're 75%. It could be, I want to give Andy 80, and John 90 or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we do have a module that we call actually objectives. And the way it works is managers can kind of input like their own scores for these sort of reps, and they can kind of determine what kind of payout they want them to get.
Yep. Yeah. As I say, I mean, that's not a core requirement. So I think kind of show us what you can do, but don't dwell too much on it, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. And just to get a scale of this, sense of scale for this project, how many hours would you say you guys are spending every month or every quarter just trying to manage commissions?
I think it's probably all in. Globally, probably I'd say 3 or 4 people, maybe full time. I know here in North America on the ABS side, it's a significant portion of somebody's time throughout the month, and there's peaks and valleys through that. So
I would hate to venture a guess, Tim, on the porcine or the PIC side. I don't know. I haven't been involved.
Yeah.
On putting it together. Yep.
I see. Okay. But it sounds like it is taking several people's times, and it is costing you guys a lot of money just being able to manage all these spreadsheets.
Yeah. I mean, in reality, again, I mean, the management is a bit of a nightmare, but it's again, even if we weren't going to save any people effort, I think the strategic benefit of driving the right behavior, just would be massive for us. So
yeah. Absolutely.
So again, if we turn around and say, well, we might save 2 people, again, that's not going to be a deal breaker either way. So
Yep, yep. And just for my knowledge here as well, what is the total compensation payout? How much do you guys estimate that you guys pay out of comp every single year?
I have no clue.
Okay, just like a very rough estimate. I don't even know. Just how many zeros, I guess.
Well, we're a $500 million company, so
Hmm.
I don't know. We'd probably pay out. I guess.
Maybe like anywhere between 1 to 10% of revenue.
Yeah, probably something like
Okay.
that across the board. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe higher. Maybe a bit higher. I'm looking at the average, percentage, maybe 20%, 15, 20% commission on a sale. So yeah.
Absolutely. Wow, that's a lot of commissions being paid out.
Yeah, total guess, but
Yeah.
Yeah. And since you guys are running on Excel spreadsheets, do you guys run into a lot of errors? You definitely run into a lot of exceptions, but do you guys run into a lot of errors as well?
yeah, I mean, just to correct you there. So on the bovine side, certainly here in North America, we run the Oracle Incentive Compensation module
Yep.
to do that with lots of exceptions. Elsewhere in the world, it is most definitely spreadsheets. So I think we probably run into a lot of errors. We probably run into a lot of instances where we make errors and we don't know we've made errors.
Mm-hmm.
Where we underpaid somebody or overpaid somebody. I
Yep.
know in Oracle, almost every month we have instances where the commission process stops because there is some kind of error that we need to
Okay.
rectify before we can, rerun it or run it through the system. So
I see. Yeah. And the funny thing about errors is that reps will always bring those errors to attention if they were underpaid, but if they're severely overpaid, they usually don't say a word. So,
yeah, without it, yeah.
could be costing you guys a lot of money in that regard as well. And
Yeah.
fantastic.
On the porcine,
Yeah.
on the porcine side, I make mention on those variable pay programs. At least my experience with the North American business and the European business, it would probably be in that 25% area of total compensation, 25 to 30% for salespeople.
Okay.
That variable piece.
Mm-hmm.
So just to let you know, on our plan, I did a spreadsheet, fairly simple, but a spreadsheet, and provided that to Antonio. But again, the program for PIC would be based on a quarterly program where it would just be calculated cost of goods recovery, budgeted royalty. Royalty in our world would be genetic fees for our genetics, and then managing operating costs. So again, fairly simple and fairly easy to explain to the salespeople. Again, in the PIC world or the porcine world, it wouldn't be on per product as it would be in the bovine world. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's sale. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. Fantastic. Let's see. I think I had a couple other questions that I wanted to answer over here.
Yeah, maybe just so this is Antonio. Maybe Andy, you would be maybe the better person to answer this. Any point in saying anything, discussing anything on integration with Dynamics 365 for finance operations, for talent, and for sales?
Yeah, no, it's a really good point, actually, and it is something that I did want to mention is, the ideal scenario for us is the solution that we have is, embedded within D365. So, people don't know where the commissions starts and D365 ends. Now, from what I've seen, then the solution is, a separate application with some, some single sign-on abilities, etc. So for me, I'd really be interested in how that integration works, specifically around things like, right, we put a sales order on the system, how does that get across and commission calculated in exactly what happens if we have to change that sales order, put a different salesperson on there because we keyed it wrong, those kind of exceptions. So I'd be interested in exploring that, not necessarily for the initial demo, but they're definitely questions that we'll need to bottom out as to how robust that integration is.
Absolutely. Yeah. As far as integration goes, unfortunately, we don't have any sort of like native application that we can embed inside Dynamics 365. It is going to be a separate portal that you have to log on.
Yeah.
But you know, as far as data integration goes, we can definitely pull in any sort of data that we want from Dynamics and get it to work with our system. And if there are errors inside Incent, there is. If it's something that a rep spots, there's native dispute inquiries, workflows, if you will, where a rep can essentially submit, they found an error on a single order, and they'll automatically route it over to managers, to administrators, wherever it needs to go. You also have the ability to you know, download orders that were uploaded into Incent, kind of make some changes to them, and then re-upload all the changes back, and then reprocess order results.
Okay. Because I mean, one of the issues we run into at the moment is, you know, if an order gets keyed incorrectly, then what we end up having to do is cancel that order to raise a credit, you know, a negative commission, and then re-enter the order. So actually, there's an argument to say if those systems are decoupled, right, then the original order goes over to the commissions module incorrectly, but you correct it within the commissions module and you leave the original record the same, or you can change it without there having to be a commission negative in and an out, and then there's an advantage there potentially. So
yeah,
you could look at it either way, really.
Yeah, there's a lot of options for how you want to connect your system to our system, and how you want to manage those sort of one-off changes.
Yep.
Yeah. Options too. Great. Jacob, did you have any additional questions that you wanted to ask?
I actually, what you guys were just speaking about sort of brought something up to me, and it's a little bit of a segue. But Andy and John, when we talk about the sales folks that are actually, I take it they're truly like out in the field. You mentioned earlier that they're visiting, you know, different locations within their territories. So are they using a mobile application now, or is there an appetite to have that mobile application where they can see transparency into their sales and what they're going to achieve?
They are truly in the field, literally. A lot of them are in the middle of nowhere, definitely. In terms of what they have now is certainly on the bovine side, they have a tablet application that they use to enter sales orders. Essentially, it's a product that we call OBI, and what that does is a custom application that essentially then synchronizes with Oracle and pushes that sales order into Oracle. They don't have any visibility of commissions from that application. That is just kind of purely the sales and billing side. So, for example, if they've got the ability to log on their phone at the end of the day and see, hey, here's a commission I earned today, and then that would be again a big step forward for them.
And
sure.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I just thought up of one really quick question that I also wanted to ask. Are you guys sending out plan documents for rep signature at the beginning of the year right now? And if so, how are you doing that?
I don't know that they send anything out. They might send an adjustment out to say, right, we're now changing this. It's part of your your terms and conditions. With employees, I will need to check with legal and with the sales team, but I think it's a case of they say, listen, we've got a commission scheme, we will make changes to this, and we'll notify you of that. I don't know that it requires a signature and a return signed document.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
used to do that in the PIC or the portime, but I haven't recently, Andy, that I know of.
Yeah.
Is it just because it got too complicated with all the emails flying around and having to manage 700 signed documents?
I don't know.
I suspect so. I think if they if we just bake it into their standard contract, say, it will change from time to time and we'll notify you, then that's an easy way of doing it, isn't it? So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, inside our system, we do have planned document routing capabilities, and I can show it to you guys how that works. If it's something that you guys do want to do, which I also do recommend because it kind of communicates to the reps how, at the beginning of the year, how they're going to get paid. Just gets a good record of all of their signatures on the plans.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Jacob, I know I'd interrupted you a little bit earlier. Did you want to resume with your question?
No. I just kind of was trying to understand sort of the appetite for the mobile side of things, and it sounds like it's definitely something that we see as being really influential, especially for folks out in the field. But we will need to understand kind of the way to access the data across those different integration pieces, and those are things we can talk about later. But having that mobile visibility, I think, is very helpful to help drive those behaviors. So I guess the answer is no more questions.
Okay. Great. Well, I'm pretty much done with the questions on my side as well. Essentially, what I'm hearing is you guys want a system that is going to be able to obviously handle all your calculations and make all that work being sent on Excel spreadsheets simplified and essentially automated, right? But on top of that, be able to also provide sales reps really good visibility, so it drives the right behaviors and allows them to test their compensation. Are there any other key points that I'm missing over here that you guys would really want to see out of an incentive compensation system?
No, I don't think so. I think, as Antonio said at the start, I think for me, it's let's have a look at the standard product. Let's see how kind of well it fits, and then we can get into the specifics of, some of our plans, etc., and get an NDA signed. We've got a standard NDA that we can get across, or if you've got one, we can obviously review it. But to me, it's let's start with a vanilla kind of overview, hit the highlights, and then if it looks like a good fit, go from there.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Andy, this is Spencer. What were you thinking in terms of timeline for this overview demo of the product? I know you all are going to be together in, is it Nashville, Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you guys can do it, really, if you can do it, next week, and we can carve out an hour to just go through it, I think that would be good. Because I mean, as I say, from our perspective, we really want to crack on and and make some decisions.
Sure.
So the clock's most definitely ticking, really.
Yeah, and we totally want to be sympathetic to that timeline. How does Thursday is looking fairly open on our calendars over here? What do you think about that for your team?
Yeah, look, I know we've got some. I know we have got some workshops, but
well, Thursday we're doing the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we have the pricing workshop. So technically, that would work out pretty good.
Yeah,
everyone who's involved is available, and they are in Nashville.
Yeah, and if we can keep it to an hour, honestly, I don't want to be rude here, but you can certainly skip the fluff in terms of, this is exactly, and this is what we do, and we're great, and all that kind of stuff, right? Just cut to the chase.
We'll get down to business for you.
Yeah.
We prefer to skip the fluff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've been in presentations.
I appreciate that.
40 minutes doing that. You're like, really? Come on, let's crack on.
Oh yeah.
If Tim does his magic to you guys, is what he done to me. Then after 15 minutes, you just say, "Is in where do I sign?"
Right. Okay.
I mean, I think from our side, we feel pretty satisfied with this call. Unless you guys have something else you'd like to add, I'll be sure to make sure we get some calendar invites out for next Thursday to get to a real down to business nuts and bolts demo.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Good.
Well, thank you everyone so much for your time. Tim, Jake, Antonio, John, everyone.
Yep. And I would say if there are any questions that you've got ahead of that, anything else that pops up, feel free to email, me, John, Antonio, and we'll respond. So.
Of course. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, and have a great weekend.
Great.
Thank you very much, Jens.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
Bye.